If you ask any person on the streets, they'll tell you straight on that the pressing priorities Kenyans have today are firstly health. Most Kenyans don't have access to quality health services. At a time we are battling with the COVID pandemic, and at a time the government has abandoned Kenyans to fight the pandemic on their own, saying that even the national insurance, the National Health Insurance Fund, will no longer pay for people who are afflicted by COVID. People are dying, doctors are dying, health workers are dying because they do not have adequate personal protective equipment known as PPEs. Doctors and health workers do not have medical cover or adequate medical cover. When they get sick helping Kenyans, they too are dying without access to adequate health facilities. So it's obvious to anyone that health is a priority issue. Building our broken health system, investing in our hospitals in the counties so that they can have capacity to treat people who are seriously ill with COVID. Most of them are being rushed to the few referral hospitals in the country. There are only 3 anyway. And most of them do not make it because they are brought either when it's too late or people passing on the way while making their way to the capital. So it is of great priority to invest in health facilities to ensure that every Kenyan, as provided for in Article 43 of the Constitution, gets access to quality health services. This is the responsibility of the government, and the government cannot pretend that failure to do so is because of the inadequacy of the Constitution. The Constitution has it in black and white in Article 43. So BBI is not going to bring better health services if the government cannot obey the Constitution as it is. Because of the COVID pandemic, a lot of businesses have closed, and especially small businesses. The joblessness has been multiplied. People have lost jobs, and already we had a situation of acute joblessness, especially among our youth. What this means is that a majority of Kenyans have lost their livelihoods, and others have been unable even before the pandemic to cater for their livelihoods, to cater for their basic necessities. Again, our Constitution in Article 43 clearly gives the government the responsibility to utilize our hard-earned taxes to cushion those who cannot manage their livelihoods. We should be having social support paid to the unemployed. Just like we have social support being paid to old people, although that social support for seniors has not been properly administered, a lot of people have attained the age of 70 and have not been put in the payment plan. A lot of disabled children are not, and orphans are not in the payment plan. We need to make this universal. Those are the priorities, so that no Kenyan has to sleep hungry because they don't have a job, or sleep without shelter because they do not have a job. This is what social support should do for Kenyans. In its 8 years of service, the Jubilee administration has failed to fully implement Article 43. This is a priority for Kenyans, especially for the vulnerable, those who cannot afford access to quality health services, those who cannot afford adequate housing, those who cannot afford access to potable water, those who cannot afford basic needs. We are staring at a crisis in the education sector. The government has asked that all schools be opened the first week of January. But do all schools have sufficient facility and preparedness for social distancing, for fighting the COVID pandemic? Do we have enough classrooms? Do we have adequate as a health system that can manage the situation should people get afflicted, especially our pupils when they go back to school? These are the priorities that Kenyans should be grappling with. We have health workers who are already on strike, and we are staring at a doctor's strike because of lack of PPEs and adequate medical cover. One would have thought that the government would prioritize these issues. This is the time to remind the government you were elected and entrusted with the stewardship of this nation so that you prioritize the needs of Kenyans, not your political power arrangements. Telling people about BBI, which is going to spend billions in having a referendum, and at the same time telling doctors that they can't be paid their allowances, the government failing to meet their health needs, failing to equip county hospitals, is irresponsibility of the highest order. I urge all Kenyans, let us join hands to Linde Katiba, and we say no to expediencies of politicians of power-sharing arrangements through an undeserved and illegitimate constitutional amendment.